Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Today I want to take a quick look at the 4th episode of Better Call Saul Season 4. A friendly warning to all. If you aren't caught up on all of Better Call Saul and all of Breaking Bad, there will be spoilers in this video. So viewers, please be warned.
And all the while, you knew Varga was moving against my interests.
I said I wouldn't kill Salamanca. I never promised to be his bodyguard.
Things begin with a young boy watching his father do some handiwork. Is it a young Jimmy? A young Chuck? Nope. It's a young Matty, Mike's son. Mike is at a support group meeting and the room is speechless. A drug deal goes down, and after the deal goes down, which apparently included one of the kilos from when Gus murdered Arturo, the man who did the dealing enters a car with Victor. Jimmy gets a call while Kim is taking her morning shower, and he got another new job. He gets to be a shift supervisor at a cell phone store. But Jimmy politely declines the offer. Kim interrupts Jimmy when he's shaving. They chat about what they're going to eat for dinner, but Kim wants him to talk to someone, and she gives him a name.
It's a shrink? It works for a lot of people. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, thank you.
So Jimmy lies and tells Kim he got the new job. Jimmy calls the place back and asks if the job is still available, hoping to lend some credibility to his lie. Kim goes to the courthouse, and she decides to observe the proceedings of Judge Benedict Munsinger. The good judge seems distracted by Kim's presence, and he asks to see her during the next recess. Munsinger isn't thrilled about his wife's low-cholesterol eggplant lunch, and he's even more perturbed about Kim's lurking in his courtroom. In a roundabout smug sort of way, Judge Munsinger basically tells Kim to stay the hell out of his courtroom.
Don't think that you are the first to try to rediscover their love of the law by trolling my court. You're not. Best thing you can do is stick to Mesa Verde.
Munsinger returns to court, and holy shit, Kim sits defiantly, effectively telling the judge to go fuck himself. Mike's hanging out at the diner with his lady pal Anita. She's worried about Henry and thinks he needs a friend. But Mike reassures her that Henry is fine and that he's full of shit.
Watch him. He's got to tell. Like a bad poker player, when he's lying, he rubs his wrist.
So they make a friendly wager, and even Anita seems dimly aware that this is a bet she will inevitably lose. Jimmy begins his first day on the job with a spirit of optimism, but he soon becomes bored and disinterested. He finally gets a call, and it's his new boss checking up on him.
Well, yeah, actually, it's a little slow.
Yeah, that store's always been a bit calmer. Just bring a book.
So this is a normal weekday?
Nacho is with the well-dressed Salamancas, and he fingers the guys Gus wants him to frame. Nacho sees they are outnumbered and suggests they get some more manpower in return, but the well-dressed Salamanca duo isn't big on waiting. So they march right in there, and they start kicking all types of ass as Nacho watches on. Eventually, the Salamancas begin struggling against these insurmountable odds, so Nacho decides to limp his way in to provide support, and he finds his way into the mix, but the Salamanca duo ultimately close out the show in style. Nacho gives Gus an update that the Espinosas were cleared out, but that the Salamanca duo is basically still fine and well. Nacho is beginning to figure out Gus's plan, but Gus wants Nacho to rest up. At the support group, Stacy shares that she didn't think about Matty for the first time in years. And before you know it, Henry is telling his tall tale, and Mike soon becomes fed up.
He's been coming in here for months, selling you a bill of goods, getting you all misty-eyed and loving every minute of it. Stop. All wrapped up in your sad little stories, feeding off each other's misery.
Nacho's dad comes home, and he's unhappy to discover that his son is around. That is until he sees what bad shape Nacho is in. Mike is inspecting a Madrigal warehouse, and he's finding all types of security shortcomings. He receives a call, and at first he ignores it. He finds some more shortcomings, and then he gets a call on a landline. Gus wants to see him. Jimmy is bored, so he closes shop and goes off to see Ira. Ira gives Jimmy his share of the Hummel scheme, and a bond among thieves deepens.
Hey, whoa, this is,
more than we talked about. We both know you could have kept most of this. I would have never known the difference.
Yeah, well, you could have left me high and dry. I'm liking this Hummel thing.
Inspired by his meeting with Ira, Jimmy takes it upon himself to do some painting on the CC Mobile exterior. And he did quite a fine job, as Jimmy is a man of many talents. Mike goes to see Gus, and Gus is mighty perturbed that Mike knew of Nacho's plans to slay Hector on the sly. But Mike isn't confronted by this in the least.
You're gonna make a move, you better make it. But they're not gonna, are they? So why don't you stop running a game on me and just tell me about the job?
All in all, I thought it was another very good episode. The thing that still stands out to me is that Gus is kicking an awful lot of ass. We know this is Gus's empire-building story, so we can naturally expect that Gus would be doing an awful lot of winning. The Salamanca duo gunned down a lot of guys, but they really only served to hurt the Espinosas while helping Gus in the process. And this ultimately weakens the Salamanca position, as Nacho duly noted. And now that Gus seems to be taking his working relationship with Mike to the next level, Gus's advantage is growing at a torrential pace. I still believe that there is some unforeseen huge obstacle ahead where Mike will ultimately prove his worth to Gus in a way that's beyond reproach that commands Gus's full loyalty. Is Nacho the one who will ultimately provide that obstacle? In some ways, I kind of hope it is. Nacho might not be a master strategist like Gus, and he might not be a jack of all trades like Mike, but all the same, Nacho is pretty clever, and I imagine he will have at least one ace up his sleeve sooner or later, even if that ultimately ends in his own demise. But perhaps Nacho will find his way into hiding before all's said and done, and maybe he can cause Gus some grief in the process. With Mike, we got to see a little more of what's beneath the surface that actually makes the man, where the grieving over his son's death remains a losing battle, and he knows it's a battle he's not going to win. So while it's obvious that Jimmy is breaking bad in ways that have some similarities with the Walter White transition, in a very real way, Mike is also breaking bad. While they all break bad in different capacities, the one thing that all three have in common is that they ultimately embrace something that they are very good at, and deep down, they love the challenge provided to them that allows each of them to show off their individual skill sets. Finally, with Kim and Jimmy, both of them are reaching the point where they are doing a lot more lying to one another. Kim's lies are usually of the omission variety, but Jimmy's lies are becoming more overt. And the fact that it's becoming easier for Jimmy to lie to Kim, this certainly does not bode well for this pairing. They are both still feeling the guilt in their respective roles over Chuck's suicide, and I believe right now that Jimmy absolutely resents the fact that Kim suggested he see a shrink. I imagine it will only become easier and easier for Jimmy to lie to Kim, and perhaps vice versa, and like Skylar before her, Kim is no idiot, and she likely knows Jimmy better than he knows himself to a certain extent. No matter how busy Jimmy pretends to be, Kim will continue insisting he see a shrink, and Jimmy will continue resenting her more and more. I, for one, think this is the beginning of the end for Jimmy and Kim. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night.
I got a job.
Really?
Yep. You're looking at Albuquerque's newest mobile communications specialist.
There's holmium and helium and hafnium and erbium and phosphorus and francium and fluorine and terbium and manganese and mercury and molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and...